What's up, everybody? Welcome into Believe in Kentucky. Got a little Monday episode. Cole Park, been all over the place. New York City didn't go well for the second year in a row, but we got a little reunion of sorts. We got Cat's Paws past and present in the building. Aaron Gershon is back in here with us to talk some cats along with Cole Park, who is currently with the Cat's Paws. My name is Vinny Hardy, of course, part of the Believe Network. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. But AG, man, glad you're able to hop on and chop it up with us and get back up in here, man. How you been?
I appreciate it, boys. Yeah, it's good to see both of you. Feels normal. It feels like I was telling Vinny when I hopped on, like this headset's just been sitting in my backpack that I bring to work every single day, and I don't think I've touched it since July when we did our last show before I moved down here. So it's good to be back and good to catch up with you guys for a little bit here.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So tell everybody, you told everybody on the last episode about the gig. So now that you're in it, tell us everybody's what you're doing, where you at, and what all the hats you're wearing and juggling, man.
Yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, I'm the sports information director at New College of Florida. We're an NAIA athletic program. So for people locally, think Midway. Cole could help me out better with a couple that I'm missing in Kentucky. You just can rattle them all off for me.
Is Center NAIA?
I think they might be D3, but Midway is the one that sticks out to me.
I know Kentucky, you got Thomas More, I think.
Thomas More, Campbellsville, Lindsey Wilson. There's one more. College of the Cumberland's. Cumberland's down there. Yeah, so think those schools. Yeah, they're so.
Is Alice Lloyd in there?
I think Alice Lloyd might be. Yeah.
Alice Lloyd. Did they move to D3?
Maybe.
They are. No, they're NAIA. Yeah, Alice Lloyd is as well. Yeah. So I think those schools. We're in the same level. We're in the Sun Conference, which is down here in Florida, and a couple schools in Georgia, and we're a third-year athletic program. So there's a lot of newness, a lot of moving parts. We just started. We've had the only sport when I got here on campus was softball and beach volleyball. And now, this year we started soccer on campus, lacrosse on campus on the same field, starting here in the spring. And, we play IMG Academy, which is obviously, world known there. We play baseball there, tennis there. We don't even have our own gym yet on campus. That's a work in progress. So, there's a lot of newness. So in addition to all the, sports information director stuff, which is, of course, stat keeping, the website, keeping that up to date, roster management, schedule updates, all that good stuff. I'm splitting the social media load with a great social media brand director I work with here every day, Ryan Petrone. I'd be lost without him. Also doing the game day operation starts with me. I was able to start a student internship program where we have 14 currently on board, most of them being student athletes. For Kentucky fans or for those in the media circles, they know that Kentucky and every school, at the D1 level relies heavily on student workers and their sports communication department. So getting that program started, getting those kids on board has been huge. So it's a grind. It was definitely a lot when I first got here and saw exactly what needed to get done. And but now that we've kind of settled into a routine, it's been pretty rewarding. And right now it's kind of a nice season where the only three sports we have going on are basketball on both genders, of course, and then swim and dive. But mostly just working with the basketball programs right now. So it's been a grind. It's been eye-opening. It's been a lot of work, but I get to walk outside every day, and at this time of year, it's 75 degrees and sunny, and I'm not complaining.
So literally from the ground floor, you're like building this.
Oh, thing. It's a baby, man. It literally is. It's we use the term, or we use the words all the time that we're flying the plane while we're learning how to fly it. Like there's just so many different moving parts, and it's been a grind. Like I said, we don't even have our own gym yet. We hardly have our athletic office is still a modular because they're building athletic offices. It is a startup, but it's going from everything on our end and from what I've heard, things are going pretty well. I know we're growing slowly but surely, and we've had some seasons. Our volleyball and men's soccer programs had program best years, especially our volleyball team. Soccer too. They were equally both close to reaching the NIA national tournaments, which we've never had before. We had some national award winners for the first time, so which are all players I end up nominating. So we're trying to make a difference here and leave this place better than we found it eventually down the road. But I'm proud of what we're doing for sure.
Yeah. So I've never had a kid, can't personally relate to that. Maybe one day. But I've heard, just because they're a baby doesn't mean you can't start preparing for college. You can't start saving up. So insider information, Aaron, when are they going D1? When can Kentucky schedule these guys D1?
Hey, they can schedule them NAIA and it'll count. Like
it'll be an exhibition for you, though.
Yeah, I know, but it'll count for them. Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that works. But for those out there that are big on social or just have social media, you probably saw the whole story with the kid from what school was it? Florida Gulf Coast. Brandon Dwyer, who it's I guess he was a bit. I had never even heard of him, to be honest with you. And we played a exhibition for us down there. Yep, TikTok star, Instagram star, both of those. But a kid that our team, obviously Florida Gulf Coast, pretty well known mid-major for what they did back in 2013.
And that's Dunk City.
Dunk City, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we played there. It was their season opener. It was an exhibition for us. And, we were up 6 early. No one will talk about that, but that's all right.
Hang the banner. Hang the banner.
But we're down. Yeah, we're getting, as expected, we're down quite a bit late second half. And about 8 minutes left. The fans are going nuts. And it's this energy in the building that wasn't even there all night. And I'm like, oh, they want their walk-ons in. Who doesn't want their walk-ons in? And I didn't know their walk-on was some sensation chasing his first career points. So when he splashed that 3, it had a rough pop. It was crazy. And I'm trying to figure out what's so significant about this. And then, of course, laying in bed that night, it's all you see on your social media feed. So that was, obviously we're getting crushed and we don't love the score being out there, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good publicity for us, not gonna lie, to have our name out there and people are questioning oh, what is this school and all that, and probably got some hits on our website. So we'll take it. Not again, we rather be competing and a little closer in that game for sure, but we're not gonna. Publicity's fine. We'll take it.
It's an exhibition, man. It's an exhibition.
It doesn't even count.
And that closing the gap, it's going to come. You said
it's coming. Yeah,
it's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what it is, that we were definitely out. The size issue was what caught us, because we were hanging around the whole first half, and then the rebounds just got out of hand. We couldn't get any second chances, and they were getting a bunch of second chance points. So is what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing we should have an annual rivalry, FGCU, New College of Florida. You'll get them one of these years.
We played them twice. I mean, that's
Let's do it.
We've been alive. We've been alive for 3 years. We've played them twice. So let's let's keep that going. It's a
good rivalry.
Fun game.
How far apart is it? How far away are they?
An hour and a half.
Okay.
Quick ride straight down I-75, just it goes all the way down here to Florida. So
okay.
I want New College of Florida invited to the Fort Myers Tip-Off Classic.
Let's go. Our guys would love that.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Now, I don't mean to bring the show down, but having both of you guys on, and we hadn't got to talk about it yet, Cole, either, just because of the way we've been recording or, with the games and stuff like that. But you guys both writing for the Cat's Paws. Oscar Combs' wife passed away, and, everybody knows Oscar. You can't be a Kentucky fan and not know Oscar and his impact and everything. And so he's from a hop and a jump from where I grew up. I mean, he's the next county over in Perry County. He was in Jeff, which is a suburb of Hazard, and I'm from Cumberland, Lynch area. He owned the paper in my hometown, the Tri-City News, before he sold it and started the Cat's Paws. I never knew that until listening to his podcast that he did with Bo Robinson. And I was just, so 61 years they've been married. And just to let everybody just to, kind of say our piece about that, because we hadn't done it on this show yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking of him heavily when I saw that, and reached out myself. I don't know if you saw it on, I don't have his phone number, but I reached out on Twitter. Not sure if you saw it, but it's yeah, it's 61 years, man. That's special right there. So definitely thinking about him.
Yeah. I mean, Oscar followed my work when I was still a student, and he reached out to me when I first got the Cat's Paws job. He's always been super supportive of me, and kind of like you, Vinny, I didn't know a lot of things about the way the Cat's Paws came to be and his journey until I read Daryl's story on it. It kind of led to a lot of those podcasts he did. It's a wonderful story. Oscar's a great person, and yeah, I mean, it was hard to see that. I think that it's a lot, and my heart goes out to him, his family, and everything. But I also think that, you know, I'm a 22-year-old kid, but the idea that I could marry the love of my life for 61 years and live that kind of life and accomplish the kind of things he accomplished and the kind of things they did together. I mean, that's all you can really ask for in this life, isn't it? So, my heart goes out to him, but I think that it's really special to be able to share a life with someone for that long. And in a moment like this, it's important to remember just all the good things in life, and really a reminder for yourself to never take things for granted, and to love the people that you have in your life and cherish them. And hopefully that people are there for Oscar right now too, and they're all cherishing and loving him the same way he cherished and loved his wife for 61 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said, fellas, and condolences to Oscar and all the family for sure. So definitely had to just take a second on this episode, especially for you two guys, former and current Cats posers. He's kind of like your journalism grandfather, I guess, if you will. So definitely thoughts to Oscar Combs and his daughter on the loss of their wife and mom. And got nobody in the comments. He comments the most. He's in my hometown. So hey, shout out to Harlan County, Cumberland, Benham, and Lynch. So appreciate nobody always checking us out on YouTube. Appreciate that. We'll shift gears. No smooth way to do it, but Aaron, man, and Cole too. But Aaron, where do you want to start? You've been watching the Cats from afar,
Man.
And football, basketball, volleyball. They're beating Tennessee
volleyball's
right now.
volleyball. They're just great. They're a juggernaut like every year. I think football is more recent. Let's finish with that, and then we'll get to basketball. I feel like basketball is the more longer-ended conversation.
So Saturday, we got Diego'd, if you will.
Oh my God, he put his ass off.
Boy, did they ever? I saw the stat. I think it might have been Corey Price put it out. He's fantastic at what he does. If anyone out there doesn't know Corey Price, but Diego Pavia put up Peyton Manning numbers on Kentucky. Yes. That's the best way to put it. Like if someone is loosely following Kentucky, doesn't know that well, like how good of a performance that was, he put up Peyton Manning numbers, and that is.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Couch wasn't on the other side this time. So
no, it wasn't.
Not a knock on Cutter Bully, just the fact that was I think that was the game that Couch went crazy too. It was like a crazy shootout.
Kentucky's just in a tough spot right now with their defensive injuries, and they got even more. We heard today Cam Olds starting, I believe, outside linebacker, done for the season. Josh Caddis done for the season. That's not on defense, but that's significant. I believe that'll end Josh Caddis's college career, won't it?
Yes, it will.
So that's a tough way to go out. Two-time Dancing with the Stars champion, I believe. But regardless, two more injuries this week. You still have Jordan Lovett out for the season, Sam Green out for the season. We're hearing that Alex Afari to Ryan Nichols, Nasir Addison, that they're trying. They're not off the depth chart yet. They're not being ruled out. They're really, really trying, but there's no guarantee that those guys even play against Louisville. So, this defense, I know early on this year it had some concerns, but that defense was playing arguably as good as any unit in the country for a little while there. And after that Tennessee game, and they, Brad White was upset there. There's a lot of things they did wrong, even beyond just the injuries against Vanderbilt. I'm not at all saying it was just the injuries, but just a tough way. Vanderbilt came in there, not eliminated from the college football playoffs. Their senior night, Pavia wanting to make his Heisman push. It was just, Kentucky just wasn't able to stop anything Vanderbilt was throwing at it. And the Commodores, I hate to say it this way, but the Commodores feasted on that. They had pretty much anything they wanted to do, and they had a great showing from Diego Pavia. Also a great showing from I'm blanking on his last name. Maybe that makes me a bad reporter. Trey. Whoever I think he's one of the receivers. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, I believe, a rushing touchdown.
Is
He
it
had another one.
Richardson? Trey Richardson?
Yeah, I think Trey Richardson. He
Yeah.
had a couple touchdowns, and he had another one that got taken back on a like a kickoff return.
On the
that
kickoff,
was up.
yep.
Yeah, but he scored on that play. They just took it back
sure
after
did.
the first time. But he arguably should have had more touchdowns than he ended with. He had a phenomenal game for the Commodores. Probably Pavia's best weapon right there, and it was just everything was working well for Vanderbilt, and nothing was working well for Kentucky for most of that game. And we saw the final score. It showed.
Yeah, I mean, what Vanderbilt's done the last 2 years is just so impressive. I mean, and look, they're interesting going forward, right? Where they're probably going to flip this Jared Curtis, who's a 5-star, maybe the number 1 quarterback in the class in 26. I forget exactly where the rankings are, but they're like a team where, and I think I saw Diego Pavia say it on a podcast, but I've kind of even thought it before he said, we're like, if they have 1 or 2 really good years, which is exactly what's happening, the money that's in Nashville, like you can get the NIL could be
private school too. Private school.
Yes. Yeah. So what you could do NIL wise is pretty special if you get the buy-in, and you would think with what they're doing, obviously I don't think Clark Lee's going anywhere, but him being a hot
his alma mater.
Yeah, his alma mater, him being a hot name in this carousel here. You could obviously, I don't foresee him going anywhere, especially because it is still a smaller sample size. And, if you're Florida or LSU and you don't win the Lane Kiffin battle, I don't know if you're pivoting there. Right. And then Auburn, I think they're kind of, it's John Summerall or bust right now, which not what Kentucky fans want to hear, but it does sound like that's going to happen from everything I've read. So, I don't think there's really I don't think you're really in danger of losing him. He's not going anywhere. They still have a lot of pieces who are still not going anywhere. So I know they had a lot of seniors starting with Pavia and, Eli Stowers, their tight end. He's tremendous, but like the wheels are in motion for them to be a legit program going forward. Yeah. And I definitely going into this game, the way Kentucky was playing. And I know, Vandy obviously lose at Texas. Texas has been shaky. Obviously Kentucky saw that. They losing at Bama is no big deal. They played really hard in that game, but even some of their wins, like LSU now in hindsight, like probably a closer game than you want. It is the SEC. I get that.
Auburn was a close one.
Auburn was a very close one. So it's like, going into the game, I thought on paper, Kentucky had a legit chance. And Vandy, I don't know if it was, again, the emotion and playing the right way with emotion, with given, as Pavia's senior night, or if that was just Vandy at their best, or even just, I don't know, but I definitely became more of I earned a lot of respect for how they came out and played and how they looked. So, you got to start with crediting Vandy, but for Kentucky, it's like, I don't even know how I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I think you definitely, got to give them a ton of credit for what they were able to do that 3-week stretch. I know, wasn't the hardest schedule in the world. Florida's you saw what happened with them against Tennessee, which never happens against Tennessee in Gainesville.
Right.
It feels like they quit. Auburn, I think, played really hard, and they just beat Auburn man to man, and give them a ton of credit for winning that game. And still got to give them credit for killing Florida. Like it could have been, it looked early on. It didn't look like it was going to be that type of game in the first quarter, at least. So you got to give them credit for that. And then taking care of business against Tennessee Tech, all that.
Yeah, that was the ended the nation's longest winning streak.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So you got to give them a lot of credit for that 3-week run. But I think this was kind of like a reality check type game. And Cole hit it really well there. There's a ton of injuries on defense. You're starting a true freshman in Grant Guyton. At corner, and he actually made a really good play early in this game, by the way.
He made a few, but they were definitely targeting him in that one.
Yeah, they picked on him heavily. And JQ Hardaway's had a bad year, point blank. Like he has not been a good corner for them this year, unfortunately. So, they picked on Kentucky's secondary, which is beat up, and they did what you kind of feared going into the game with what Kentucky was dealing with secondary wise. But it's a reality check. Like Kentucky's just far behind Vandy at this point, which is sad to say, but they're far behind a lot of the SEC, especially if LSU and Florida nail these hires. Like I think they play LSU next year. They're going to play Florida every year going forward. Just like it has been. So, that scares you. It could fall all the way to the bottom here. And, they're Arkansas. they're ahead of Arkansas. So congrats on that. They're ahead of Arkansas. And I think they'll stay ahead of Arkansas no matter who they hire. But, Woo Pig. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't think a coaching change is coming. I think it probably still should. I don't think it will. But this game was a little bit of an eye opener, and this Louisville game now is like, who's playing is the better question.
Yeah.
Everyone's out.
We heard today there's a chance Miller Moss plays. Stoops seemed to think he will, but they're still planning for Deuce regardless. I mean, you hear their number one wide receivers out, I believe.
Yeah, probably their two best running backs probably out still, or at least
Louisville,
2 of the 3.
I'm not trying to, again, no bulletin board material or anything for Louisville. Or anything like that. I'm not trying to make any kind of assessment on a team I don't cover, but I almost wonder, and I said this weeks ago, before the Clemson loss, before the SMU loss, I said, Louisville is a team that worries me. Not worries me, I don't care, but worries me for Louisville fans that they're in the same boat as Florida. Once they lost to Cal, their playoff hopes are gone. Their ACC title hopes are gone. There's nothing to really play for. I said after the Cal loss, it would not shock me if that Louisville team kind of just gave up in a lot of ways. And then they lost close to Clemson. They played against Clemson, but they lost close and they just got murdered by SMU. Not riding a high coming into this week.
Yeah, the only 2 games I really watched in full of them this year were Miami, because it was a standalone game on a Friday night. And obviously that was probably their best performance of the year. That was still really close.
I watched the James Madison one.
I didn't watch it. I know James
I watched the James.
Really good team. That was a close game, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it?
It was. JMU led for a little bit that one.
Yeah. So, and then I watched them this weekend, knowing Kentucky was on deck and the noon slate was a little weak. And it was a mess. And there was definitely, there's something going on there. And the thing, even going back to the Miami game, and I know Miami's really good up front, but like, I think, and I saw someone on the Louisville Twitterverse tweet about it, and I think they're right. Like, Miller Moss hasn't been great. I don't think he's been this disaster. I think he's very similar to what they had.
They've had bad offensive line play too.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at. Their offensive line is terrible. No, you're good. It's terrible. It's really, really bad. And, I think Moss is kind of similar, not as good, but similar to what they had in Plummer 2 years ago, where, not great, not the worst. Like, I've definitely seen worse quarterbacks. I think he's better than Brock Vandegrift was when Brock was in there last year. He's better than Devin Leary was a lot of the year, his year here. So, like, it's not that bad for Miller Moss. It's not. I think it's gotten a little overblown, but they're terrible up front on both ends of both sides of the ball. So I think their trench play is kind of reverted a little bit back to the end of Scott Satterfield there, and we'll see. I know they lost a big time recruit. I don't think Brown's going anywhere either. I think I don't know, the way they falter down the stretch. I don't see him being a rebound for Florida.
He's less attractive to a lot of people now.
And I think Penn State, is kind of narrowed it down to 2 there from what I was listening to today between the JMU coach and then, their interim coach, Terry Smith. So, it's going to be, I think that he's staying there, and they've got a lot to figure out too. It's going to be a game of one, who wants it more, just because both teams, Kentucky's still playing for a bowl game, but we all, saying the quiet part out loud, it's not the same as it used to be. It doesn't matter to these kids as much as it used to. The sad reality, 10 to 20 of the guys who are on this team won't even play if they have a bowl game. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And then for Louisville, it's like, all right, like we know our season has another game no matter what.
Yeah.
How hard are we going to come out because it's a rivalry game? And do we want to really end the year what it would be, a 4-game losing skid? They'd finish 7-5, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be a matter of who wants it more, because I think these teams with all the injuries now are pretty evenly matched, and all the talk and all the crap talking throughout the year is going to end. And Kentucky fans weren't really talking crap because they knew their team wasn't going to be great this year. Louisville fans sure were. And it's going to come back to be, I think it's going to be a 4-quarter close game. Could go either way. Wouldn't surprise me one way or the other, but low scoring type game was what I'm expecting. Though it may be high scoring because both defenses are beat to hell too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And I will say it's opposite sides of the ball, right? Where Louisville's offense is completely beat up. Their defense, I think, is mostly healthy. And then Kentucky defensively is a disaster injury wise, but you have offensively, you're pretty healthy outside of Caddis. So.
Everybody says we need more NIL to match Georgia, Bama, and Texas. BS. We'd have to outspend them to do what they do. Name a top SEC school where it snows.
I don't know that I agree with that, but I think Ohio State and Penn State have no problem getting recruits, and it gets colder up there than it does in Lexington.
Oh.
Michigan gets recruits really easily. I think a
Yeah.
lot of it more is just the
It's all
brand
money, man.
that matters a bit
And the
more.
brand.
But for me, a couple quick rundown notes on other programs. Not trying to just talk about everyone but Kentucky right now, but Aaron said a lot of things that piqued my interest. One, on Louisville, I would also agree that I expect Braum to stay there. I heard some rumors that he was linked for a little while to Florida. They were thinking about giving him an extension. I don't know that even the extension comes at this point with how their season's gone down, and
I don't know. I don't know if the fans would like. He's gone
I don't know
from
if the fans would
being,
like it a ton.
Yeah.
They could always do a Kentucky and announce it after a really bad loss that they're actually we extended them. But regardless,
Missouri did that too. I remember they
Yeah.
gave Drink an extension the morning of the Colin Goodfellow game.
Oof. But regardless, I would
He's
expect
pretty
him
good,
to
though.
stay there. Tough end of the season for Louisville. For Vanderbilt, the thing that's the most interesting to me, I think, is, and I was talking about this with somebody, the big question if you're Vanderbilt is where do they go from here? Pavia said, despite what reports said, he said he's not trying for another year. You know, he's maybe going to win the Heisman this year, so he might go pro. Regardless, the big thing is you've had all this momentum. You've had these guys. If you watch the SEC docuseries on Netflix, you've had these guys who bought into what Clark Lee was preaching, bought into this mentality that Vanderbilt has. Diego Pavia has obviously been celebrity, you know, doing shows. This Theo Vaughn thing he's got going on, but where do they build from here? Because like Aaron said, there's a lot of money to be had there. There's a lot of money to be had in Nashville, and you can see it with the basketball too. They've been investing in the
Yeah, they
James
look good
Madison
again.
coach there, and Mark Byington, blanked on his name for a second. Their former JMU coach. They're putting money in that program. They were already better last year. Made the tournament. Expected to probably go back this year. Maybe. I think they play today, maybe, or tomorrow. Regardless. There's a lot of potential in Nashville for that program. It's a matter of how they take this Pavia stuff and run with it. How do they keep building off of this? And we're seeing that with the recruits. We're seeing that with trying to get some of these bigger names to keep building on that. It's going to be very interesting to follow that program going forward because it sounds simple. I'm not trying to belittle anything at all that Clark Lee has done there, but a lot of programs can have quick flash in the pan successes for a few years. The difficulty, as Kentucky found, is sustaining that success once you found it. Kentucky had 2 10-win seasons in 4 years. I don't care if the NCAA vacated one. They had 2 10-win seasons in 4 years. Look where they are now. It's very, very easy to have 1 or 2 bad years and find yourself right back where you started.
No question.
And now Kentucky is talking about, Stoops didn't say it, but he implied it today. He said this is a better football team, and I think that's going to show. I think we're working on that, but it's harder to get recruits when the results aren't there right now, and it's a lot harder. Even if you've had success, it's harder to find those guys who want to come play when it doesn't seem like it's going well right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how Vanderbilt capitalizes on this momentum they've gotten with Pavia, with this current staff, and how they build on that. And I was talking to somebody at the game. I think it was someone from KSR, but we were talking at the game. I feel this way about Kentucky too, by the way. I want to emphasize I do feel this way about Kentucky. But you watch some of their traditions, some of the stuff they do pregame, some of the atmosphere stuff, the location, and all I can think of is, God, if this team just was consistently good year after year, this would be such a special place in college sports.
It's unreal how that place has changed.
The anchor down was really cool, bringing out the anchor on the field and slamming it down. They had Dirks Bentley do that for some reason.
I know,
but
it's unbelievable what's going on there.
Yeah,
like that was not happening. Well, 2 years. I've been at the last 3 games for Vandy before this. Throw out the construction site game, like that is what it is. But it was nothing like that the other 2. And I was there just in the crowd in 21. It's amazing what's happening. You just got to give him credit.
And there's no way Lee will leave now. I mean, he's just not ready to take off. He was at SEC Media Days talking about a national championship 3 or 4 years ago, getting laughed out of the room.
I know.
And now,
that's very impressive.
So there's no way he would
leave
now.
Yeah. Actually, I was really interested by something Stoops said today in his presser that, talking about Lee not leaving Vanderbilt. I don't see him going anywhere unless something just went crazy there because, obviously that's his alma mater. He loves that school. But someone asked Stoops something. I forget what the question was, but his quote, I tweeted it out today, but it really stuck with me. he said, I've lived here more than I've lived anywhere, probably.
Yeah.
He said, I left home at 17 and I haven't been back since. He said, whether you like it or not, I'm a Kentuckian at this point. This is my home. I
Mhm.
care about this place. I want to be here. And that kind of did stick with me a little bit. I was like, I think a lot of people are saying a lot of things about Mark Stoops, but it is true. He's the longest tenured coach in the SEC. He's lived in Lexington for over a decade now, almost a decade and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, this is this guy's home now at this point. Like this is, whether or not things turn around or not, Mark Stoops is a Kentuckian and he'll always be a part of the Kentucky sports history. Um, I think most Kentucky fans, I say most because there are some that don't. I think most Kentucky fans would love nothing more than for Stoops to turn it around, get this program back to winning 10 games, get back in the playoff conversation, get back in where they could be. Um, I don't know if they will. I think that there's a lot of potential with this team right now. It feels weird to say considering they're 5-6 fighting for bowl eligibility, but I was talking about it today with people replying to some of the comments I put out from Stoops' presser. There's a lot of guys in this team that can come back. There's a lot of guys you want to get, and Stoops talked about that. With the money, the revenue sharing, what it is now, the more even playing field. He's made it no secret. The biggest goal this offseason is not about going and getting all these top recruits or going and getting transfers. He said our biggest priority is retention. We want to keep what we have first. Keep Cutter Boley. Keep those young wide receivers. You got your DJ and Cam Miller. You also
Yeah.
have guys like Hardly
Have
Gilmore, have
to.
plenty of college time left. Willie Rodriguez, not that old. Not that old. I think he's a sophomore,
He's
junior,
going
maybe.
into it. Yeah, he'll be
Mhm.
junior.
Mhm.
He's got plenty of eligibility left. Keep that guy. Even though we haven't got to see them a ton, there's a lot of confidence in those young offensive linemen. Darren Stray, Jaden Clark, even Malachi Wood. Um, Shout out my Madison Central goat, my former teammate right there. But there's a lot of pieces to keep. And on defense, Mike Keese, I believe, has another year. Humphrey Grace.
Yes, he does.
You got Tavion Gadsden. CJ Works has been playing a lot as a true freshman. We've already heard that there's interest in possibly, considering the injuries this year, just pursuing a red shirt for DJ Waller and Nasir Addison. Some of those guys. I mean, Kentucky has a lot of pieces to bring back next year if they can keep them. And then, as Stoops said a few weeks ago, uh, you think of the modern era and the transfer portal, and let's just build a new team. In football, realistically, it's kind of like Stoops said a few weeks ago. You can pick a few areas of concern that you can really focus on in one offseason, but you can't build an entirely new football team from the ground up in one offseason. I mean, I guess you could, but it's very, very hard to do. So
Yeah.
if they can retain a lot of these pieces that are positive, and then bolster some of those spots that they're lacking, I could see Kentucky being solid next year. Solid, like
So,
genuinely a solid football. I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to be a sunshine pumper right now. I'm just saying
right, right.
there's potential there. And I think most Kentucky fans would love nothing more than for this to turn around and get back to where it was. Whether or not it will, that's to be seen. I also do not at this point foresee a coaching change. Quite frankly, I don't even know if there would be one if they lost to Louisville and finished 5-7. Certainly, if they beat Louisville and get a bowl game, I don't think there would be, but it's interesting to follow. But I do think there's reason to be excited about this Kentucky team, despite the thumping against Vanderbilt.
So if that's the plan, that's the model that they choose to follow. How big a jump can we hope to see
That's the
in
problem.
the SEC?
That's the problem. That's the
It-
problem.
It's such a complicated question too, because that heavily depends, right? I mean, we look at the schedule and we can say it's tough, but we looked at this schedule and you looked at this schedule, you would have said, oh, well, Florida is one of the hardest games and South Carolina is one of the easiest games. Well, they lost South Carolina and they beat Florida because Florida fell off a cliff.
Should
So like
have. South Carolina ended up being
it
really
should have beat
easy.
South
They,
Carolina. I
they
mean,
dropped the
that would
ball.
have been a
We were
tough
their
one.
only SEC win.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, they're a
that's
mess.
certainly a tough
Uh,
one because that was Cutter Bowley's first start. The offense hadn't really figured out its thing. 21 points pretty much off of offensive turnovers in that second quarter. Just I
Terrible.
wrote about it in depth. It was a tragedy. It was a tragedy unfolding before my eyes. But regardless, it's hard to say. But nobody would have given Kentucky a chance to beat Florida preseason, and then Florida falls off a cliff and
Yeah.
Kentucky blows them out. So it's tough to say what kind of jump you can expect without knowing what other teams are going to be, what Kentucky's necessarily going to be. But I do think that there is a potential for a significant jump next year if Kentucky does what it has the potential to do. A lot of that depends on who they're able to keep Because again, we don't know in this current market, in this current climate, who they're going to be able to keep. We don't know who they're going to get. So I don't really know that I can label a jump or a floor or a ceiling on next year's Kentucky team because I don't know what anyone else is going to look like. I don't know what Kentucky's going to look like, but I'm just saying I think that, in my opinion, covering this team and seeing some of these players, there is a potential for a significant jump come next season if they see this through.
Yeah,
I'll say you,
it's yeah. The schedule. You're right. We don't know what the other teams are going to look like, but just going through it, like there are a couple. Like Texas A&M is pretty young, which is crazy to say, and they're the best team. For my money, I think they're the best team in the country right now. You got to go there. You got to go to Oklahoma, who their quarterback hasn't been great. That defense has some pieces that are probably going to go pro, but
quarterback hasn't been great. He broke his hand mid-season. To be fair.
Yeah, he hasn't been great because of that. But also, like, I think they made the most underrated hire of this entire offseason, which was hiring Jim Nagy, the former Senior Bowl director, to be their GM. And they have if they win on Saturday, they're probably going to the playoff. Like, so that's a great program. What Eli Drinkwitz has done at Missouri, assuming he stays there, they're bringing back their quarterback.
That's a big if. That is a big if.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay. I really do. I think it's going to just look at the message boards and Twitter. It's kind of like a Mark Stoops A&M situation there for both LSU and Florida. So
I also think you have some of the Brom situation there too, where it was a lot higher a few weeks ago before they took a few losses.
Yeah, and Missouri's drops a little different because of like you said, the quarterback injury. But look, let's say Drink stays. You have to go to Missouri, which that's become a really tough environment. They're going to bring back their quarterback. They have plenty of they got ahead of NIL. That's the reason they've been good. Ahmad Hardy, if they keep him, he has to come
back. Shout out to my cuz.
Yep.
Ahmad Hardy.
There you go.
Hey,
so
very niche reference. Legend on College Football 25. Absolutely abused people with him.
And he's back next year. So he's a sophomore, so he has to come back to college. And then, Florida is going to look different. We don't know how different. LSU is going to look different. We don't know how different. Tennessee, we just chalked it up as a loss till they do it at this point. And then Vandy's in South Carolina are kind of like all right, like they're probably, you would think Vandy, like you think that you could win that game, but we've just talked about all those positive things. I think they hold true. And then if South Carolina is staying the course with Beamer, I think it's a mental thing if you can't beat them. Like, you got to beat them. Why is that an away game, by the way? Why did they go there again?
It's because I can actually answer that. I agree.
Florida's coming here again.
It's because the SEC ignored this year's scheduling when it made its new scheduling. So it's scheduling in groups of 4. So the way the schedule worked out, it's going to be home away. But South Carolina, are they a permanent opponent?
Yes.
Yeah. So home away, not a home away every 2 years. They ignored this season's result. They ignored this season mostly when they did the scheduling. So they just completely made the schedule at a block of 4, and they'll reassess that in the next block of 4. But this next block of 4.
But they still end up having to go to Knoxville, of course.
Yes. Yes. Naturally.
Yes. Naturally. Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
And as far as going back to Vandy, talked about them and give them credit, and they deserve it. Just bring that same energy to Knoxville this Saturday. Just bottle up everything y'all did last weekend and bring it to Knoxville.
Do it again. I agree.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Kentucky's probably going to end up staying the course. I agree with everything. I think you're totally right, Cole. I do agree with everything Stoops has said all year, really, about them being better. Like, if you watch the games, they're more competitive and they have better players. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
It's
been really interesting to me to follow this season with how much pressure there's been and how much outside noise there's been. I feel like, say what you want to about Mark Stoops, he's been very, in his own Mark Stoops way, granted he's not going to say everything, but I feel like the things he said, and especially in his Monday pressers, whether it's about NIL, about the team, about the schedule, about where they're at, he's been pretty candid about a lot of this and pretty upfront with his feelings on a lot of things going on. And I obviously I'm a reporter, that matters to me, but I respect that. A season like this, it would have been really easy to be bitter, but he's been pretty honest and open about a lot of the challenges Kentucky's facing, a lot of the realities of where they're at, a lot of the shortcomings with this team they have right now, and the things that led to that. So
No doubt.
I do think it's notable that he's been pretty candid about the whole thing and has been pretty honest about where they're hoping to go, where they're at right now, and why they're at where they're at right now.
Yeah.
So, we going bowling or not?
I don't know, man. I've kind of gone back and forth all week, so I'll be positive and say yes.
As soon as the Florida game wrapped up, I said they're going to a bowl game.
All right.
I said, I got to stick to it. I also think that on some level, not that they don't care, not that they're not trying to stop their spiral, this season is going to be a disappointment for Louisville, regardless of what happens, because of where they were and what happened. Beating Kentucky is not going to make Louisville fans feel better about their season. It'll make them feel better for, like, they'll laugh at Kentucky, they'll have a nice time, but they're not going to feel better about their season. Whereas Kentucky, you have the stink of getting just absolutely massacred last year against Louisville. That's a game that's going to matter a lot to these players. These players who have been playing with a chip on their shoulder, with something to prove, and they are injured, but it was something Cutter said after the Tennessee Tech game about the importance of getting to a bowl is, he said, at this point, we're playing for our lives. Like, we want to play another game of football together. He's like, we want another chance to prove things, and we want another chance to play another game. And I think a win, if it doesn't always work out this way in sports, but I'm a sucker for a good story. And I think the better story would be Kentucky beating Louisville this year. I think Kentucky has more riding on this game against Louisville than Louisville has riding on this game. And for that reason, I'm going to say Kentucky pulls it out.
I was on the record saying 5-7, so before the season started. So, I mean, I always, temper that with I hope I'm wrong. But and you guys are right as far as Louisville, as far as being their psyche. In the past, Kentucky was the one to burst their bubble, and their bubble burst way before us now. So we just be
Golden Bears
stomping on the ashes of, the was already been, torn to shreds. So it's definitely possible that Kentucky could still, they punch them in the mouth a couple times and Louisville taps out. We've seen it before on the road at Louisville. It wouldn't be the first time. So it could definitely be very possible. Like you said, the honeymoon is over for Braum. So, we'll see.
The biggest key to me in this Louisville game is something they said after the Florida game. Where Louisville's at mentally as a team is not too dissimilar from where Florida's at as a team. And when we talked to the coaches and players after, they said the same thing about Florida. They said, we knew if we could jump on them early on, build up a lead in the first half, they weren't coming back from it. We knew if we could just get ahead by halftime that we could win this game. Obviously, they struggled a little bit early on with the muffed punt that led to the easy Florida touchdown in that one. But they did. They jumped, even though a lot of it happened in the second quarter, they did jump for football. They jumped on them pretty early. They built up a lead before halftime, and Florida kind of caved. I would expect something similar out of Louisville. If you can jump on them early, they're not going to respond as well. If you let them get some momentum, you might be in trouble.
Yeah. So who's going to get snowballed on first? Because they're similar situation. Kentucky does have the bowl postseason nugget hanging out there. They're motivated enough to stay galvanized to go after it. So yeah. Yep. Switch to basketball real quick before we let you go to radio, Cole. Your thoughts on the Cats? We need to see them in a big game. Essentially, that's what we're waiting on.
Yeah, that's what you're waiting on. No question. I put almost zero stock into that Loyola game. All due respect to them. They've done that, right? They've whooped both of the other mid-major teams they played this year. I mean, they whooped Eastern Illinois and didn't even play that great. So they flexed their muscles in the games they're supposed to. There hasn't been a UNCW or Evansville moment, so that's good. I know there was almost a Winthrop moment for Cal, but they did what they had to do in that game. It was good to see them play hard. I thought that was my really only positive thing, like, to maybe build on. Like, I thought the effort was where it needed to be. I thought Otega looked more like Otega a little bit, so still not fully like Otega. And I think, I'm not ready to give up on that kid from what we saw from him last year. I do think people are probably panicking a little too much. And turf toe is nasty, man.
Yeah.
Like, that is a serious injury. I mean, we saw what it did to Joe Burrow last year. We saw what it did to Will Levis at the end of his time at Kentucky. Devontae Adams, one of his years with the Packers. Like, it is a nasty, nasty injury. So I think there's there's probably still a get right process for him, trusting that foot again. But it's been discouraging, honestly. Like, those first two games, and that's like, yeah, no crap. It's been discouraging. You've gotten killed. You got killed by Michigan State, and you lost the Louisville game, and we're honestly getting crushed for most of it. But just the biggest issues I had with the team going into the year, and I talked about this, Vinny, at length before I left, is how did you not address the backup point guard position? Like, you knew what happened last year, where you lost both your point guards. And you were playing Travis Perry, who wasn't ready to play yet, with all due respect, out of necessity. And Lamont Butler, he gave it all he could in that NCAA tournament, and probably was the best player in the Illinois. He and Marbreo were the best player in the Illinois game, and he was probably the one who played the best against Tennessee. But guys playing with one arm, like, in a normal year, you have a backup point guard that can take the load, and you play Butler sparingly in that tournament. So I didn't think they did a good enough job addressing that. I mean, personally, maybe hindsight's 2020, but like, personally, Brandon Garrison, it sounded like he had one foot out the door. I probably would have let him walk and invested that money into a second point guard, because the Moreno buzz kind of started building even before he got to campus that he was going to be more ready than he ended up being. But it is what it is. And they didn't address the backup point guard position, and here they are again without a point guard. And but the other thing was the shooting, right? Where you got, guys who are like, Cam Williams shot really well at Tulane last year. I still think highly of him. I think he's going to be a good player for Kentucky. You're starting to see it too the last couple games here, especially at Louisville. But other than that, like, you didn't get any high volume shooters. Like, Mo Diabate shot 46% from three last year on 26 shots. And what's he shooting this year, Cole? You probably know better. I haven't seen him make one.
Mo?
Yeah, I know he's made one.
Pretty sure he went 0 for 4 in New York City.
He did go 0 for 4 in New York City.
I think he's hit one this year.
Has he not hit one this year? I could tell. 11%.
11%. He has hit one.
Yeah, he's hit.
Open for a reason. Open for a reason.
Yeah, he's open for a reason right now.
That was rough in New York.
He's hit one. He hit one against Valpo. So
hit one against Valpo.
Exactly. So except for
the score, everyone did hit one against Valpo.
Yeah. So it's been like, the shooting's been a concern. Like, they didn't do enough to address those two areas. And Denzel Aberdeen's a nice player. He hasn't like been relied on this much in his college career. He was a role player at Florida. Colin Chandler's been arguably their most consistent player. But he hasn't been a guy you've relied on for heavy minutes. And the way that this system is supposed to run, you're not supposed to be relying on anyone for heavy minutes. So that stuff is all concerning to me. And I don't see it as like I don't see a quick fix. Like, I just don't. And I know it's good news that they don't play another big game for another week here. I think a week from tomorrow, they North Carolina comes in
December 2nd.
And then the 5th they go to Nashville to play Gonzaga. But like, that's good that they have some time to maybe get Jalen Lowe healthy, get Otega Owe more healthy. But man, I don't know. Like, I'm like you said, Vinny, we're in a waiting game with them right now. I don't feel very good. I don't think anyone feels very good, and it's easy to not feel good. And I wish I can come on here and tell you like, it's all going to be fine. It's early. Like, we've seen this in the past, but there's some real holes on this roster that got overlooked by this coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, a few things there. I think it's a double-edged sword having this gap off. I mean, you only have, it feels weird to say December 2nd feels further away than it is. They only have one game between now and then. That's the Tennessee Tech game.
Yeah, and I think that's good for them too, honestly.
I think it's good for them in the sense they can get healthy. It's bad for them in the sense that, like you said with the Loyola game, nothing they're going to do in these two games is going to matter to anybody. Their perception is going to be what it was against Michigan State. They're going to be simmering in this negativity for a little bit. Yep. I also think, Tennessee Tech, obviously a big story with John Pelfrey coming back. Everyone loves him, Kentucky legend, but it's not a good program. It's not. They're struggling. They've been struggling. So not a ton of anything to really look at there. With Owe, I do honestly, I can sympathize a little bit. I don't necessarily empathize, but I can sympathize with his situation. You know, you're coming back to college. People are putting all these aspirations on you, SEC
Yeah,
Player of the Year, expecting this, and you know he's made it clear. He was honest about it last year. His dream is to play in the NBA. He goes to the draft, gets all this feedback of what he needs to change, getting ready for the biggest season of his life, and then he gets turf toe. And like you said, that lingers, that hurts, that doesn't feel
it's a
good even
tough
once you're
injury,
healthy.
man.
It's a tough injury to come back from, and you've still got the pressure of, well, this is what the NBA wants to see out of me, but it's not really working right now. It's not making the team better. The team is struggling. The team needs this out of me, but the NBA wants to see this, and this is it for me. I mean, it's a tough spot to be in if you're Otega Owe. I do not at all envy the position he's in there. Um, so that's unfortunate. Hoping he can get that figured out. I did like seeing some more flashes of the old Otega that we saw early on against Loyola. Kind of felt like that died down a little bit, but I would agree that he hasn't been playing himself lately. Um, Few things, Aaron, you've known me for a long time, been friends for a while now. I need you to back me up on some memory here. Give me credit after the fact. First of all,
Ooh.
I reached out to you when it happened. It didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Felt natural. I do think now with the whole low situation, you're feeling the decommitment of a Caden Lewis a bit more than you
Oh,
thought you
no
would.
doubt,
That one's hurting
no
you a
question.
lot more than you thought it would.
Ooh.
I
I thought that
mentioned
was a
that
big
when
deal when it happened. I really
I
did.
thought I
Like
thought he
we
was.
talked
I
about it
remember.
on here.
Yeah. I remember saying before he decommitted, I remember actually, I think I even said it to you. I think out of the three freshmen Kentucky had coming in, I was most excited for him over Jasper
I
and
agree.
Malachi. Actually, interestingly, Malachi probably would have been the last one I was most excited for. And obviously, it's no
Yeah, me
secret the
too.
jump
It
he's
was the
made from high
same.
school to college, but he's been playing really well.
Yeah,
Arguably,
ton of credit.
I think he should continue to start over Brandon Garrison at this point. Now, for some ball knowledge, Vinny, I need you to trust me on this. Aaron's gonna back me up on this. You knew me last year early on, not when you first started playing, but early on. I want you to know I bought my stock early on before the NCAA tournament, before the SEC tournament, before senior day. Did I not, Aaron, say buy stock on Colin Chandler?
You
There's
did. You've been
potential.
high on him since day one.
I said
Ooh.
not day one. I was pretty low on him day one actually, but
It felt
after
early.
I
You
saw
hit on
some
him early.
pretty early in that season, I was like, he's not there yet, but I think Colin Chandler could be really, really good for Kentucky. Just give him a
I agree.
year or two. I said junior year. I didn't expect him to make this jump sophomore. I said by junior year, he could be a really, really good player on this team, and I expect a lot from him. And when I first told that, I remember I was telling people from the Colonel that early on. They looked at me like I was insane. They're like, Colin Chandler? No way. All I'm saying, kid knows ball sometimes. Kid knows ball sometimes. I called that one early. I said, watch out for Colin Chandler. And to this point, I don't know that you could say on any individual game by game basis he's been the best player, but he's
No.
been this season arguably the most consistently good player all season long. You can expect Colin Chandler to give you a good showing every single night. He might not be the best player on the court every single night, but Kentucky right now doesn't have a player who's been the best player on the floor every single night. Otega always been struggling. Denzel will go from having a phenomenal game to looking like he sees the rim somewhere other than it actually is with his air balls at times. So like they've had a lot of good players that have had great games, but like from in terms of consistency and reliability, Colin Chandler's been probably their best piece this year. And I just want it known on the record that I called that early. He surprised me. I did not expect sophomore Colin Chandler to be this, but I said junior Colin Chandler could be this. So if he jumped ahead of my time frame a little bit, good for him.
So that gives credence to second year jump in Mark's Pope system, and him with the 2-year layoff still coming off of that as well. So
I would also
now
say
we just
defending that a little bit, Trent Noah has not taken a second year jump that we've seen yet, but I would also say the style of play and the system has struggled enough that he hasn't been in a position to make that jump yet.
Yeah,
I'm still not.
he had the early injury too.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
it
still
slowed him
not
down.
convinced that Trent Noah's not going to
Me
finish
either.
this season being really reliable shooter once the
I
offense
think,
finds its rhythm,
yeah,
once it finds its system. Trent Noah plays best. I don't want to call him a system player because that has such a negative connotation, but he plays best when you have him doing his job in a system. You know, he can give
yes,
you really good basketball with a good team around him, but he's not the best at this stage in his career at creating his own shot, at doing all that himself. So I don't think the system's been the best for him to make that jump yet. I still expect that to see. The only player that concerns me in terms of not making that jump right now is Brandon Garrison.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that ship has sailed for me. I hope I'm wrong because
I think
he's a
you,
good
Yeah.
Aaron,
kid.
if I recall our conversation, I think that ship sailed for you last season.
Yeah, it did. It did. He had his moments last year. He had the Oklahoma game. He was legitimately played a great game there. The Troy game, first round of the tournament, I thought he played a really good game, but there's too much inconsistency, too much just
Yeah.
silly mistakes. Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like he was messing up simple stuff last year, and he's doing it again this year. I mean, I don't. Not even that clip that's viral of him just
We all know the clip.
airballing that. Yeah, rebounding the air. Like
Getting out
that
work.
is what it. Yeah, it's just been. He's getting outworked. His passing is overrated, in my opinion. Like I don't see it, man. And sometimes analytics are great. They are helpful. Sometimes it's like, all right, let's.
Pope saying he's the second best player in the team. I want to know what analytic that's using. I really want to know what figure that is.
Yeah.
I will say I feel like I've been very negative towards Brandon Garrison. Obviously, I want to see him do well. I did think it was notable after that Loyola game. He loses his starting job to Malachi Marino. Pope said something about the physicality aspect, missing out on Mo in that game. They thought it might provide them a better chance to start Cam and Malachi. You can say whatever you want to, whether it's coach speak or not. I don't know. I think most people said it was time for Malachi to start. I really do respect the way Brandon Garrison responded to that. He had one of his better games this season.
Agreed.
He didn't seem upset coming off the bench. He played his role, and I think that if he can keep doing that and doing that well, he could be a really good piece for this Kentucky team. If he can be, coming off the bench, play the way he played for most of that Loyola game behind Marino, I think he could still be a very special player on this team. He could be a really good player on this team. I'm not, trying to just rag on the guy or say that I think he's bad at basketball. I'm not saying that. I think that one, he could cook me on a basketball court. I could not hold a candle to him. But regardless, I really do respect how he answered that adversity, and I think that there is still potential for him to be a lot better. It's still very early in the season, and obviously most Kentucky fans, same with Stoops. I think everyone would love nothing more than for him to kind of piece it together, figure it out, and start playing his best brand of basketball.
Yeah, consistent.
Couldn't agree more.
Passing, court vision, seeing where the passes are, the angles are, because sometimes it's just, and you hate to just keep sound like you're just banging on him, but just, we've seen and heard Bart Pope talk him up all of last year and talk about all his potential coming into this year. And a lot of times when and every team has the discussion and communication, when there's misunderstandings or you're supposed to be here and differences of points of view, he's always the one kind of talking. But I'm like, dude, you're the one that's usually probably out of line more so than the person you're talking to, but you're the one that's wanting to. So maturity, the whole package, maybe just keep trying to polish it. Maybe he'll get there. We all hope he'll get there.
I think he will. I don't know if he will or not. I agree with Cole. Like, the mindset is right. He took the benching the right way. And it's going to be fascinating too. It could be, if I think they're going to get Jaden Quaintance back like pretty soon. It sounds like maybe, I don't know about those early December
3-on-3
games
now, apparently.
So maybe those, that Indiana, maybe either Indiana or St. John's range. So like, he's probably going to be center number 3 at that point. Like, I don't think you can move him back. You can move Malachi Moreno below him again. So it's just going to be interesting to see how he keeps handling adversity. And again, Kentucky's going to have to get very creative with their rotations and their roster because you don't have a point guard right now.
Well, what will interest me with Brandon Garrison, obviously, hopefully going to get Mo back soon, maybe even by next game.
I think he'll be back for Carolina.
Against Loyola, Pope experimented with a lineup that included Garrison and Moreno on the floor at the same time. I would be really interested to see, depending on how he does, maybe not like over Mo or anything, maybe not over Cam, but you want a place for him? It could be interesting to see if once JQ gets back, see how Brandon does at the 4 a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
I would agree with that. That'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. You got to get creative. Again, they have no choice but to be creative when you're in the situation they're in right now.
Yeah.
Kentucky volleyball did Tennessee the same way they did them in Lexington. Spotted them the first set, won the next 3, and so they advanced in the first ever SEC volleyball tournament down in Savannah, Georgia. So yeah, Tennessee jumps out, gets hot, but they can't sustain it. The Cats punk them the next 3 times. So on to the next.
On to the next. Good for them, man. Keep on doing it.
Absolutely.
I think it's so impressive. You heard, when the SEC made its additions, you heard, well, Kentucky's ran this conference, but here comes Texas.
Nope. Hasn't mattered.
Texas has been here 2 years now. Kentucky's won. Its streak of SEC titles has not ended. This year, outright. Last year, I think they had a share of it, was it? They shared it with somebody last year?
Shared it with Texas,
yeah,
maybe?
I think it was with Texas. But regardless, outright this year, Craig Skinner's got a team, man. Craig Skinner,
so good.
Phenomenal coach, phenomenal program. I'm not saying it will happen. Nebraska's obviously still a monster. There's still a lot of very good teams in the country this year, but feels like there's a real legitimate chance to win banner number 2 with the Kentucky volleyball program. Shades of 2020. It'll be interesting to see, interesting to follow, and love Craig Skinner, man. Stand on more desks. Stand on more desks.
It's like we talked about, Cole. The biggest worry, the biggest concern he had is keeping these ladies from peaking too soon. That's the challenge. That's the challenge, getting them primed and ready for now, tournament time, because they've been just rolling. They're
so good, man.
Yeah. So
Eva Hudson is phenomenal at what she does. Obviously, you would imagine telling somebody like at the start of the season, there's going to be games where Brooklyn DeLay is not the best player and Kentucky still wins. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, that is insane that the team they've built there, that entire team is stacked and very, very good at what they do.
Player of the year, freshman of the year, coach of the year. I mean, just here we go. It's
monster.
Time now. Yeah, it's go time. So appreciated your time, Aaron, for hopping on.
Happy to do it, guys.
Good to catch up with you. Continued success at NCF Banyans.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all your work. I know they appreciate everything that you're doing at New College of Florida. So the Mighty Banyans AG is to quote Reggie Jackson, the straw that stirs a drink. That's what you are down there for them. So
trying, man. We're trying.
Have to get you back on, get y'all into some Yankees and Red Sox and Giants and Patriots and Knicks and Celtics and all that other stuff. Have to get you back on when you got time. Congrats on the upcoming wedding. Congrats to you and the future Mrs. Gershon. So
crazy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
I know what you're about to go through, man. I was there. Yeah. We 24 years in now, so hey,
there you go. I love it,
man.
I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Cole. I always appreciate you as well, man, and appreciate everybody that took the time to tune in and listen. Follow Cole on the Cat's Paws. Be at Rupp Arena for John Pelfrey and Tennessee Tech coming into Rupp. And we'll keep watching you down there in Sarasota doing your thing as well. So another episode of Believe in Kentucky on the Believe Network. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends. Appreciate you watching and comment and listening when it's on the audio platform soon. Go Cats. Everybody stay safe. Enjoy your short week, and we'll holler at y'all next time.